call via General Mkhwanazi that there is suspects that were arrested under the district of Ilembe, and they are talking about their involvement in the killing of a certain politician and all that. I then dispatched a team to go and interview these particular two suspects, who later confessed, and they deposed the confession statement in that regard through an independent officer that is not attached with the PKTT on their involvement, and their firearms that were recovered were sent to ballistic, and they subsequently linked with other 3 cases of which they confessed on those dockets, on those cases. So that was the only case that during that time we went and pick up, and within 2-3 days, I think, okay, let me say in a space of a week, we were able to place all these matters at court, because at first they appeared with possession of unlicensed firearm. And as they continue and confessing on the other crimes that they committed, and then within a space of a week, we were able to place all these matters at court. Therefore, that was the last case under investigation that we dealt with. Other than that, whatever that we were investigating, it was the continuous investigation from the directives of the prosecutor on the matters that are already at court. Perhaps to say, go and obtain a additional statement from witness, blah, blah. Go and obtain the video footage, because this one that is here is not clear enough, and so forth.
So those were the court-going cases.
Those
were
the
following up on instructions on those only. What did you think was going? I mean, what were your expectations? What were you informed? What was going to happen with the dockets, with the remainder of the dockets?
At an early stage, the only thing that I knew it was, don't do any investigation, and we are waiting for directives. But then as time goes on, maybe I will dwell then on the phone call I received from General Khumalo, which was on the...
So between 31 December and the handover, which starts now on the 25th of March, all that the team was looking at were the court-going cases, and not the dockets under investigation. So come 25 March, what happens then?
I received a call, and General Khumalo, by then I was around Pretoria, commissioners, informed me that Colonel, coordinate that the under investigation of all categories cases must be brought to my office before business day of end of business day of the 26th March. I then communicated and coordinated this with my 3 TAC job commanders back in KZN.
Sorry to interrupt you, Colonel. The instruction was to bring all of the dockets.
Yes.
To head office.
Head office.
The very next day. That sounds like a very unreasonable request.
It was. Hence, earlier on, commissioners, I said it was messy. Because I think if we were given ample time, there would have been a smooth handing over. Because handing over, it's a very crucial and important process. If it's not properly coordinated, we will start pointing fingers to each other, of which it's not necessary. So you have 24 hours. I've got 24 hours.
All right, and so how did you comply with the instruction?
I did so. I'm a very disciplined member of the South African Police Service, and I take instruction so long as the instruction is lawful. If it's an unlawful instruction, I get it from any senior officer, I will never carry out that instruction. Therefore, the instruction I received from General Khumalo was lawful instruction. And I then made phone calls to my 3 TAC job commanders, including my tactical commander detection based at Maj-Gen that ensure that these dockets are collected. After you collect them, that is all under investigation dockets for politically related, parallel cases, ad hoc, as well as traditional leaders cases, which traditional cases were dockets that we received a year ago because were allocated to us in 2024 April, and there were 45 in total because we managed to take 5 to court in that time. Through my communication with them, commissioners, the TACJOC commanders, I also told them that as you collect these dockets, because each and every, the PKTT, they divided the region of KZN into segments for each team to focus area of policing, that you focus on the northern and central part of KwaZulu-Natal. Then the other team was focusing on the midland and southern part of KwaZulu-Natal. Therefore, you had the third team that was moving around the whole province. And those were the TACJOC commanders that I was talking to that collect these dockets. They were in the safe, but I must mention that others were with prosecutors because this came as a surprise. The prosecutors had dockets that they were in court. Others, they wanted to write instruction or so forth, or just maybe the matter was coming up for trial. The prosecutor wanted to familiarize himself with certain aspects. Within 24 hours, members had to try and scan all the dockets. On top of that, I told them that prepare a report so that when this docket goes to head office and that there is questions pertaining certain things, we are able to go to our archives, draw those reports, and able to answer on any queries that will come forth. Okay. Indeed, on the 26th, I think it was around 1400 hours, combat members arrived and they handed these particular dockets to me. I was at the office of Divisional Commissioner Crime Intelligence, Lieutenant General Khumalo, and I took the 118 dockets. 118 were only from KwaZulu-Natal. I handed to the office of General Khumalo.
So if I could just ask you to look at paragraph 14, perhaps you could just read that on page 5. Just from the last, you say that it was an urgent instruction. And at the bottom of page 5, you say this resulted in the process being chaotic. Perhaps you can just read from there to the rest of the paragraph.
I don't know if I should read it on record or you want me to.
Please.
This resulted in the process being chaotic, ordinary. Prior to a transfer, each docket goes through a thorough inspection by the respective branch commanders, confirming that all statements are present and intact. During this process, one is required to ensure that the work is properly recorded in the C-clip. In this case, given the rush, the team scanned the dockets and quickly prepared them for transfer. In some instances, we saw new statement, but we could not update the C-clip because of the pressure to move the docket. In some instances, the statements were with the investigating officers as the analysts were scrutinizing them for the purpose of the record. I'm saying this, commissioners, because I was informed during the handing of these dockets sometime in August this year that there were some statements that were missing, but then I will deal with that when we get to the topic that is speaking specifically to that. Sometimes you will find that when the IO comes back with the statement, I've learned the detectives through my 7 years working with PKTT. If you allow them, they sometimes become a little bit messy as well, more especially when it comes to docket. Therefore, monitoring of a docket and ensuring that everything is intact, it's important. Myself and you can talk about the evidence and so forth, but if the evidence is not inside the docket and the matter goes to court, that matter will never be a successful, we'll never see a successful prosecution on it. Therefore, sometimes you'll find that the IOs comes and the statement is not attached because he still wants to go through the statement as well and so forth. It's understandable, but he will forget to replace it or put it back.
What statement would this be? Would this be a statement that has just been taken, or are you talking about a statement that would already have been in the docket but would have been removed from the docket? What statement are we talking about?
Either way, or one, on the statement that is already taken and was in the docket. Sometimes you find that analyst says, I'm going through the call data and there's something that I'm not satisfied with. Could you please bring me the statement of witness B? I want to compare or analyze it with the call data and see whatever that he says is indeed depleted on the call data, be it because of whoever that he was communicating with, be it the location because you're looking at the towers, where was he transmitting on that particular day or time? That is one. The second one, it can be that after the IO has obtained the statement, he comes back, he wants, on the same day, he wants to just read and understand if indeed this person is telling the truth or not. And subsequently, he forgets to go and file the statement. Therefore, it can be one or another. Thank you, Commissioner.
You were part of the combat team. And that being so, this may not, or in fact is not, your area of expertise. General Motsepe, who testified before you,
yes, Commissioner,
told us that the proper way to do this is to make a copy of the statement and go and use it for whatever purpose you want it for, rather than removing an entire statement or taking out of the docket an entire statement. I don't even know whether I should ask you to comment on that.
Commissioner, thank you for the question. I wouldn't dispute her version, but I can safely say that no statement was removed in the docket purposely and not returned. The statements that are alleged to be missing from the testimony of General Motsepe, all those statements are accounted for. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. So you prepared the dockets, and then you say you did this pre-handover audit where you had a table in which you recorded the status of the docket, and you described that in paragraph 16. And you've explained why you did so. You said you did so that you could have for yourself your own record and you could answer questions later on if questions were put to you about the dockets.
Yes.
And is that what you're talking about? That's at NPK 1, is that correct? If you can turn to NPK 1.
That is correct, Commissioners. As I was in Pretoria, during that telephone conversation with my TAC job commanders, I told them that let's prepare this. And this was in corroboration with me because I need not to be there as I was here for other taskings. And I told them that we need to compile this as it's going to assist us going forward.
So in this table that you prepared, and it's for each of the 121 dockets, the last column, well, maybe for the record, I should just say the columns are the docket number, the station and CAS number, the summary of the background of the case, evidence collected, suspects identified, and then the last column is remarks or outstanding, remarks stroke outstanding. What is that last column reflecting?
This is a summary of what needs to be done to continue or making sure that the docket can be taken for further guidance to the prosecutors and subsequently getting the authority to go and effect arrest. So that is some of the outstanding investigation that needed to be executed.
And this is what you noted in March 2025.
Indeed, Commissioners.
Thank you. So you hand over the dockets. Before we just get to the 26th of March and the transporting of the dockets, once these dockets are now removed from the investigating officers, did they have any further role to play in the docket or any further investigation on any of the dockets?
No, Commissioners, the detection, they will not have any further role to play because the dockets are not physically with them. The only thing that they can do is just telephonically, because when you investigate a docket, you sometimes build that relation professionally, so with the victims' families and certain witnesses which prefer or feel protected, if not safe, when they deal with a particular member only. Therefore, that's what they will do. And I must say, in some other instances, that it was not a happy ending, because I think there's a part where we're dealing with victims' family that were not satisfied by moving of these dockets.
Okay, so in paragraph 17, you explained that the dockets were then transported on the 26th of March. What you say is were securely transported to the head office. Who transported them and who handed them over to General Sentumule?
The dockets were transported from KwaZulu-Natal by two combat members, commissioners for their safety. Can I not mention their names? And they were then handed to me. Then on the same day, because I had to rush to the airport to catch a flight to KZN, I handed them to the office of General Khumalo on the same of the day of the 26th. That was the last time I touched the dockets, 26 March.
So you delivered them to the office of General Khumalo on the 26th, and what happened after that you were not involved in, the further handover to General Sentumule?
Correctly so, Commissioners.
Okay. And you had no further, contact with the dockets or investigation or work or nothing? You had nothing more to do with the dockets from that day?
Indeed, the Commissioners, I must also just emphasize that from KwaZulu-Natal, I handed 118 dockets. there were 3 dockets, 2 Umtata dockets and 1 Alice docket that were from Eastern Cape, were not handed by that time. And I communicated with the team that was in Eastern Cape and informed them that they should ensure that those dockets are brought to head office. And indeed, though they arrived late, 23 April, the dockets were brought to head office. I saw a letter of receival, and they were subsequently sent to or transferred to the office of Divisional Commissioner, Forensic and Detective General Sintumule as well. So that then made the total number to be 121.
Okay, then there's a hiatus of 5 months from the end of March to the end of August. Can you tell us what happens on the 27th and 28th of August?
I think there is, if one has flew, catch a flight, more especially the route between Johannesburg and Cape Town, there's quite a lot of turbulence. And when you hit that moment of turbulence and your flight moves from a certain level, goes down, the moment it reaches the air again and it starts to flow, you feel uncertain. And ask yourself, what is actually happening? Is the pilot safe? Are we safe? You look around and so forth. It was that moment, because we didn't know that we're going forth, back and all that, but we had confidence in our executive officials that a proper decision will then be taken, because in essence of what we are doing, we are all police officers and we fight crime. Commissioners, nothing happened between that period on these under investigation dockets. Nothing at all.
You got the dockets back,
Yes.
in August.
Yes.
Let's just start there before we talk about what happened in the 5 months. So were you then tasked to go to head office to collect the dockets? Is that what happened?
Commissioners, thank you. I received a call again from General Khumalo on the 25th of August, informing me that there will be a 2-day handing over of the same docket that was brought down to head office. And a venue and time has been arranged for that process to take place. I then phoned PKTT members and requested 2 of the branch commanders and 1 other member to come and join me for that process to take place. I think one had about 2 days at least, and could make means and ensure that the process this time around is more professional. And we are able to account for everything that we are doing. Then on the 27th, we gathered at a venue that was identified, and myself, my 3 members from PKTT and 3 members from head office, consisting of the colonels. We sat down and we started the process of handing back the dockets to PKTT. We started by counting the dockets physically before we can go to statement by statement if they are still intact. Mind you, commissioners, that we made copies before the dockets could come. And we were comparing that with what we are getting. Because before we started that process, I informed one of the kennels that, kennels, this is the process that we are going to do. And the kennel said, no, but then, Khumalo, this is not what we did on the 28th of March, when the dockets were handed to the Office of Generals in Tumula. I said, I was not there. Therefore, the process of handing over, I need to account for each and everything. This is the process that we are going to do. That is why it took us 2 days. And I think even the senior officers, for them to allocate 2 days, they anticipated for that. Or else, we could have just came there and say, these are the docket, 121, we leave. But because we went into depth of those particular inspection, that is why we could then pick up that instead of 121, there was actually 123 dockets. How then we get to 123 is because the other 2 dockets were very slim, and they were in between the docket, one docket itself. They were in between them. So that is why we couldn't, because of the rush. I guess even head office, because they were like, no, it can't be. We got 121 dockets, but then we are getting 123. And they accepted that.
So, hold on, let me pause you there. You're saying now, in August, when you are inspecting the dockets being returned to you, there are 123.
Yes.
Those 2 additional dockets were slipped into others because they were these slim folders. Yes. But were they originally there in March when they were given to the head office?
Surely they were there. It's unfortunate that we never picked them up because according to our categories, those dockets were filed as closed. They were not supposed to come down because they were not under investigation.
They were closed files already?
Yes. So
the head office hadn't picked that up either.
Head office didn't pick that up because they were also amazed that, no, there is 2 extra dockets during that process. But then one might say that it was one of those oversight issues. Then we sat down, commissioners, and we started with the process of handing over. And through the handing overs, one must mention that there is comments that were noted and fairly so by the head office team in respect of the investigation that was conducted by the PKTT. The comments are on SAP 5, and maybe if I can draw the commissioners on page 10 of my statement. Under paragraph 22.2, where I mentioned, can I read that in record? Most of the dockets were audited. 92 were audited, and audit notes recorded in the C-clip of the docket. 31 dockets were not audited, and notes were not found in those dockets. This is one of some of the assessments that we picked up. I would like also to read on record the next paragraph, which is 22.3. No work was conducted on any of the docket except one. Docket Mtata 286 of 4/2022 matter received attention. Maybe the commissioners might ask, what is Khumalo referring to? I'm saying this because according to the investigation diary, which is an SAP 5, this case, in May 2025, Lieutenant Colonel Kenene contacted Lieutenant Colonel Siachula. I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly, commissioners. Siachula, Lieutenant Colonel Potwana, Lieutenant Colonel Orendal, of whom these are all previous IOs that handled this case before it was reassigned to PKTT. He also introduced himself to the family of the deceased, and I must put it on record that no investigation was conducted. Because if investigation was conducted, we will have seen the statement or the C-clip having that statement obtained from witness A or person of interest and so forth, or correspondence on the B-clip that call data has been applied for an application of the call data and so forth. Therefore, this docket was not investigated at all.
Can I pause you there?
Yes.
When you're saying that of the 123 dockets, only 92 were inspected, audited and inspected.
Yes.
Because there seems to be a difference between an audit and inspection. So are you saying only 92 had inspection notes?
Correctly so,
Okay.
Commissioners.
All right, and then I just want to take you to NPK2, because that's a table that you also put together with your team, as I understand it.
I'm on NPK2.
So NPK2 is a table, and it lists all of the dockets, and the last column says comments. Now, the comments that are transcribed in this column for each docket, are those the comments that were made by the inspection officers at the head office?
Indeed, Commissioners.
Okay. And so, just to be clear for the Commission, if we were to just take an example, maybe we can just go to the first docket in the bundle of dockets, Commissioners. That's NPK3, but it's a separate bundle that you have in front of you. So if we take the first docket on page 1, and that's an Alice case, what do we see on page 1?
This is a cover docket which entails the case number, the investigating officer, and all the offenses or instrument used to commit a crime.
Okay, and then if we turn to page 2, this is not the second page of the docket technically, as I understand it. This comes from the C-clip.
Correct.
Is that right?
That's right, Commissioner.
And we know that because it says C-26 in the box at the top of the page. Does that mean C-clip page 26?
Correct, Commissioner.
Okay. And so, and if we turn over the page, again, it says it's on page 3 of the bundle, but it's C-clip page 27.
Yes, Commissioner.
So these are the last 2 pages of the C-clip, is that right?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay. And if we look at the last page, that's on page 3. Where do we see the inspection notes of head office?
There's no inspection on from the head office team on this particular docket, Commissioners. The last inspection was done in 2023-02-17. It's unfortunate the name of the member, it's a little bit, I can't see, but then I can tell that is Detective Warrant Officer
Okay.
that conducted this.
So this is an example of a docket that had not been inspected by the head office.
Yes, Commissioners.
So maybe, can we just try the next?
Maybe before you do that, can I just check something? Colonel, this docket, I think the evidence, maybe let me ask you to confirm. Yes. Is this one of the dockets that you received in 2023, the PKTT? Because I think the evidence of General Motsepe is you got the Eastern Cape dockets in 2023.
Yes, October 2023.
So this would be one of them?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. Now, right at the top of that page 1, in the middle column, so the first column says Alice, and then you've got the case number in the middle column, and it's a 206-12-2012. What are those numbers there, if you are to explain them? 206, 12, and then 2012.
That is the serial number, the first number, 206. It's a serial number of the case per month. Each and every month, case numbers start from 1. And then they will go up until end of the month. And then the second number there is a month when this case was registered. And then the last digits, it's the year when the crime was committed.
So,
Therefore, this particular matter happened on the month of February 2012.
and where does one see when this docket was first opened?
That will be on the MA. It's unfortunate, commissioners, we don't have example of that, because on that particular document, that's where you get the name of the complainant, contact number, where the incident happened, and the time. But then even on this one, if you can look on the, you see on your left-hand side of the cover docket, Commissioner,
Yes.
there is a number starting with 071. Beneath it, there is an ink, a red ink.
Yes.
Underneath that, you will see it will be date and time of offense or incident. And then it says then 2012 month. I think there the person that was writing there made, oh yeah, it's 12, which is the 12th month. I made a mistake when I said second is 12th month. And then the date, it was the 30th, and then that is 30th of December. Commissioner, are you still following?
Yes.
And then time, it happened at, I don't know if my eyes are correct there, 01:00.
Yes.
It was on o'clock early hours.
Yes. So this is when the incident happened.
That is when the incident took place.
Okay. Now, if you go, and maybe let me tell you why I'm asking the question.
Yes,
you confirm that you would have received this docket, or the PKTT.
Yes.
Would have received this docket in 2023. Now, we've had evidence that you had done no work. The PKTT had done no work at all with this docket, and that's why I'm asking the question that I'm going to ask. If you look still at that page 1, the very last block which says finding result of trial, you see that?
This is now on my,
This is on the cover.
Okay.
I'm still on the cover. Right at the bottom,
yes, at the bottom, yes, Commissioner.
you've got that last block which says finding, the heading. is
Yes.
Finding/result. In the middle, it's got court dates. Are you able to make out what that date is there? 1910
10, I don't know if it's 12 or
or
it's
17?
Looks like
17.
2017.
2017.
Yes.
Yes. So I think what I'm wanting to establish with you is you get a docket in 2023, but this docket, in fact, goes back at the earliest 2017 when it was in court. So it's an old docket by the time it comes to you.
A very old docket, Commissioner. And maybe one should also emphasize on, this was not one of the main dockets that the team in Eastern Cape were there for. It's a case that the team was informed by one of the complainants within the university that there is a docket whereby there was an attack on the staff. And we don't know what happened with that case. And we said, let's throw the docket and we look at it and see if there's anything that we can work on with it.
Yes.
Therefore, it didn't get much of attention because the Eastern Cape team worked with speed and was able to arrest quite a lot of people. And most of their time, they spent them in court. We're talking today, they were in court. It's only 2 IOs. And the magnitude that was put in that particular investigation at the university is huge.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. I just want, just for the sake of clarity, you're saying that this wasn't what you call a main case.
Yes.
This was a docket that you drew into your pool
Yes, Commissioner.
in order to assist with investigation of the main case.
Yes, Commissioner.
So what is the status then of this case as we sit here?
The docket is provincially withdrawn. From the last time we looked at the system. One must also, commissioners, bring you on board that every time there is a movement on the docket, if a suspect is being arrested, the IO and the branch commanders, they must ensure that the system is being updated. This is now the police system. There is certain system that are being applied. I'm not going to put myself on the corner because that is now the detective work to update the system. 2, when the matter goes to court and is remanded for a future date, and the reason for that reminding must also be updated on the system. Therefore, that always, because this is assist in head office monitoring, happens that the case is being moved from this particular IO to another one, we will be able to see as well on the system where was the investigation, what was happening on the investigation. Therefore, this case was provincially withdrawn, and when we look at it as well, we saw that it's not going to assist us at all in our investigation, and not much was done on it because we could see that whatever that we went for in East London, we were able to address, which were the killings within the University of Fort Hare. And as a plus, numerous cases, or one case with a lot of suspect or accused, then was registered and people were arrested on the corruption and fraud charges.
That was over and above the charges you were there to investigate.
Indeed, Commissioners.
Okay, so thank you. You've clarified that docket, which is the first one in the bundle for Alice. Can we please turn to the second docket? And this one is on page 4, and it's an Amanzi Mtoti case.
Yes, Commissioners.
Okay, so the first page is the cover page of the docket, we now know. The next page is from the C-clip.
Yes, Commissioner.
So it looks like the last 2 pages of the C-clip have been reproduced in each of these sets.
Indeed.
So page 6, is that the last page then of the C-clip?
It is the last page, Commissioners.
And if we look at, can you actually explain, we've got about 3 entries here, it seems. The first one in black at the top, then the second in red, that's in March 25, and then there's another set of notes in a different handwriting below that in red. Can you just explain each of those entries?
Let me first explain that from the 4 categories I spoke about, Commissioners, political, ad hoc, parallel, and traditional. This is one of the dockets or cases that falls under traditional leaders cases. And when we received this docket in April, it was quite a lot of them, 50 of them. And 49, 48, it was murder, 1 kidnapping, 1 attempted murder. Therefore, whilst we were busy investigating the political related cases, we received this mandate. And we couldn't investigate all of them at a time. There's 5 dockets that received attention, and we were able to take those 5 dockets to court. There's one already whereby suspect has been convicted. Therefore, this is part of the dockets that haven't received any investigation. What we did, it was the analysis. Just like when I said from the head office team that they went through the docket of Ntate 286. As I was saying, there was no investigation done because no additional statement was attached on the docket, just like this. The first inspection there on top, it's by one of the PKTT investigator. That is on 2025-03-24. She's addressing that those instructions to the branch commander. And then on the 25, then the branch commander also made an entry. And I don't know if I should read this on record.
Sorry, just before you go to the 20, so 24 March, the investigating officer makes an entry saying that she's received instructions on this docket and it will be complied with. Does that come from the analysis, the team meeting, or where does that come from?
This comes from the analysis, which we, as I alluded earlier on, that when we got this docket, we sat down. What we did, commissioners, we first tried and see, can we, with all the analysts, look at what is still outstanding, critical evidence, your ballistic report, your LCRC report. And on a ballistic report, can we group these dockets and see which firearms, which cases are related or a certain firearm was used on? When I speak about firearms, we've got rifles, we've got 9mm, we've got shotguns and all that. But then with the grouping then, we said on the rifle, we've got ballistics experts that are able to tell that on this particular rifles, there's 2 groupings.
Colonel, I'm sorry to interrupt you, and it is interesting, and maybe we can return to it. But yeah, for now, the purpose, what I'm just trying to understand what happened here. This investigating officer, after a meeting that you've already described how those meetings work and how the analysis works, received those instructions or taskings.
Yes.
And she says instructions noted and will be complied with, right?
Yes.
But she doesn't enter what those particular taskings are. Is that contained somewhere else?
Yes, we do have those taskings on our daily tasking report and weekly report.
Okay. So she makes this entry on 24 March 2025.
Yes, commissioners.
Okay. All right, that's fine. Then you can move on to the next one. The next entry is the next day.
Yes, this is now the branch commanders that is preparing the docket, because if you look at it, it's on the 25th. This is the day when I phoned and told them that prepare the docket, they need to come down to head office. Then the officer that did the inspection is giving that entry, that officer in charge, because he doesn't know who's going to deal with the matter. The investigation has not yet commenced. Here we've received docket for perusal and for your directives.
Okay. So that entry is made by the PKTT officer.
Indeed,
Okay.
Commissioners.
The next entry then. Can you tell us the date and who made this entry and what it's about?
This is the entry of a lieutenant colonel in head office. Can I not mention his name? Because I think
That's
it's
fine.
visible enough. And the entry was done on the 19th of March, 2025.
Is that March or May?
Oh, sorry, it's May. Sorry, the ink is not visible enough here. It's May. And then he's then giving an instruction. Firstly, say IO, docket for further investigation, obtain the photo album and file it in the docket, obtain the chain statement regarding the handling of the body, obtain the body identification statement, obtain the statement, the chain statement from that person that he's mentioning regarding the 2 bullet heads received from mortuary. And then the 6th instruction there is obtain the chain statement regarding the handling of the bullet. And then the 7th, obtain the duty officer statement from that particular captain. And then the last one was then obtain ballistic report. So these are all the entries that are made by an officer in head office.
Okay. So each of these dockets, those that were inspected, would have this kind of entry on the last page of the C-clip. Is that right?
That's right. The 92 that were inspected will have such.
And it would be May 2025, between 19 and I think the 30th or something.
Yeah, between 19 and 25, if I'm not mistaken, of May.
Okay. And all of these comments, you say, you then reproduced into the table you produced for NPK2?
Yes, Commissioners.
Okay. Now, if we can then go to your paragraph 23.
Okay, Commissioners.
So in paragraph 23, you don't reproduce, because you've done it already in NPK2. What you do in 23 is you just sort of categorize and summarize the comments that were made by head office, as I understand your paragraph 23. Please let me know if I'm wrong.
That is correct. That's the summary that I gave in terms of the auditing or inspection.
So there are from 23.1 to 23.16 is where you list the comments.
Yes, Commissioners.
So my first question is, did these comments accurately capture the status of the investigation in the dockets, in each of the dockets?
Maybe I should mention that this might not be 100% accurate, Commissioners. Why I'm saying that, the investigation progress it's supposed to be updated on the SAP5. But then due to the methodology that the PKTT applied, we were using this tasking, daily tasking and weekly tasking reports, where we felt it's important for commanders as well, because we were there for that only, to monitor and follow each and every investigation that was happening on the docket. That's one. Two, one of the reasons that they might not be accurate is the fact that the quick movement of transferring this docket, as I said earlier, it was very messy. And the dockets remained behind by mistake. I heard earlier on that
You said dockets remain behind by mistake. Did you mean statements?
Statements in a file, yes. And then those statements, they were for certain dockets. I think the witness earlier on mentioned 3 cases. And I did tell the senior counsel that all those dockets on those 3 cases are accounted for and are intact. Actually, one docket, I think it was Umlazi case, that the statement came to Pretoria. It's unfortunate that the indexing was not, SAP5 indexing was not talking to the statement on the A clip. I'll make an example. On the A clip, the statement is for witness Khumalo as number 7, because you write on the right top corner of the statement. Then on the C clip, you are writing that statement of the witness and Khumalo obtained. And if you want to give a summary, you can do that if you want, and you say A7. But what the investigating officer, the lead investigator that was investigating that particular case did is he indexed the statement as number 9, whereas on the A clip is number 7. That's what confused the members that were doing the inspection from head office. But upon poking more holes from the team, they send me all those outstanding statements, and I've got them on my device.
Colonel, can I ask you a question? I mean, my little knowledge of audit, whatever it is that you audit whatever you are auditing. You make your findings, whether positive or adverse.
Yes.
You then give the person responsible the opportunity to respond to your adverse findings. And then once you have their response, then you finalize your audit. Is that how you understand it?
That's how I understand it too, Commissioner.
Because, as you say, I could have filed a statement, but in the wrong folder, but it is there.
Yes,
but because the index says it is in folder A, the person who's doing the audit, if they don't find the statement in folder A, they will assume that there is no statement.
There's no statement.
Whereas it has been misfiled in a different folder.
That's correct, Commissioner. I think on the first handing over of March, because it was within 24 hours, we never picked that up. The dockets came down, head office did their auditing, and sat down with us as well. We did not pick that up. But the moment I got then their report and mentioning this, I said, let me follow up on this. Upon phoning the team and say, can you go to this docket, look at it properly, ask the investigating officer if did he ever remove any statement. They found the statement actually intact in the docket. It's just that it was a wrong filing.
But now that you've done your own, you've audited the auditor.
Yes.
Have you gone back to head office in Pretoria to say the queries you raised in your draft audit report, actually here are the responses to it. Can you now update your audit report? Because for each of those, I mean, you mentioned 3 cases where they said statements were missing, and you say they are all accounted for. Have you gone back to them to say, actually, your audit is incorrect because there are statements, they are there, here they are all accounted for?
No, Commissioners, to be honest, I haven't done that, of which I take a blame for that, because we are all working for one organization.
Yes.
Supposed to do so.
Because my problem is now, head office is standing by their audit, but you dispute their audit, and yet there has not been this interaction.
Yeah, no, that's true, Commissioners. It's something that I was supposed to have done, and I'm taking fault of that. Maybe while we are on that, talking about the missing of statements, on the Mtata 286 matter, according to the audit, there is 38 statements that are missing. Remember, Commissioners, that those docket of Eastern Cape, they arrived here on the 23rd of, they were handed over to our counterparts on the 23rd of April. Seemingly, when the dockets were brought, there is 2 files that make this docket of Ntate that left behind in one of the safes. And upon seeing that, I then phoned the team and say, colleagues, I know for the fact that statements were obtained. There is where I was making inspections and giving instruction as well, because I might not be the detective, but as a commander, of which even at the police station, you have a police station commander, you have a detective commander. The overall accounting officer is the station commander. If he feels like he wants to inspect any docket, he can tell branch commander, bring this docket I want to inspect. Therefore, that's some of the things that I will do and say, bring the docket I must inspect and I will make entries. That is why on this docket I've got an entry too. So I was shocked to see that statement are missing. And one of the IOs that is no more, is not part of the PKTT anymore, I've reached out on him and I asked him, where are the statements? He said, no, Colonel, those statements were there. Perhaps if you can tell the members to look properly, they will find them. Indeed, they located them in a safe. So whoever that brought the Ntate case and Alice did not take the other 2 files that contain those statements. And those statements, as we are talking, they are part and parcel of the file that came to head office and have been handed to the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Crime Detection, Eastern Cape, Major General Dladla. He can attest to that too. Then on the last one, which is Greytown 2 of 11/2018, Commissioners, this is one of the dockets.
Colonel, can I pause you for a moment, Chair? Yes. It's 4 minutes past 4. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we've got a little way to go, and I just wondered whether it would be possible to have an adjournment, a short adjournment, and keep going until we're done with the witness. 15 minutes. It takes 3 minutes to walk up.
We've decided 10, is that fine, or 10 or 15?
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, you're saying thank you, I was asking a question. That takes us to what, 20 past?
15, please, Chair.
Oh, all right, 25 past. 20. Let's adjourn until 20 past.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
afternoon, everyone. We are ready to resume for the last stretch.
Thank you, Chair. I'm eternally grateful for the 15 minutes and the ability to have a coffee.
We are not complaining.
Colonel Khumalo, we were on paragraph 23 of your statement, and we were talking about the inspection reports by head office that you've listed here. Are there any further comments you wish to make on paragraph 23 and on any of these specific comments before we move on?
Yes, Commissioners. I would like to focus on this paragraph 23, and maybe I will draw the attention of the Commissioners on 23.4, page 11, where it is written that the ballistics request to be obtained and filed for ballistic reports. These cases are cases that never receive any attention from us, as they were from the traditional leaders' cases. It's one of those cases during our analysis, we then discovered that there's no ballistic report. Even when we go to the integrated case docket management system, which is ICDMS, this system is an electronic system used to manage criminal cases to access information related to case dockets by authorized person. They were not loaded, meaning we then had to tell our LCRC that he needs to go to the station physically when we start with investigation of such and locate these exhibits, because it happens sometimes that exhibits are recovered from the crime scene or collected, put in the SAP 13 of the particular police station, and not, because after that the LCRC need to prepare a covering letter of all the exhibits that he collected from the crime scene and send those particular exhibits to either ballistic or the lab in Motsepe. So on these particular 6 cases, of which we have noted them, the ballistic reports were not there. When we move to 23.6, these are some of the suspects that we have identified, and J50s were there. As I said, Commissioners, that suspects, when they commit crime and they know that I'm wanted, they will run for their lives. And there's quite a lot of suspects that we are still looking for them. They are at large. We do have J50s and so forth. I'll make a practical example. On the matter of University of Pretoria, where the driver of the Vice Chancellor was shot and killed in January 2023. We arrested...
You said the Vice Chancellor was shot and killed?
No, the driver.
Oh.
The driver of the Vice Chancellor. That's what I said.
Most sincere apologies.
Okay, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Was assassinated. We arrested one shooter, the other 2 were still at large. That matter happened in January 2023. We continued to look for them. We had numerous operations. We couldn't locate them. They are from KZN. And sometime in March this year, March, April, we then got information that they are hiding somewhere in the VA from an anonymous call. And we reacted on the information. We went there. We found them. Commissioners, because they know they are wanted, they have to also change the look. If you are a person of a beard or dreadlocks, you will cut so that you can deceive those that knows you very well. And they were not living a normal life, because they say they will stay in their house not even go outside so that they cannot be located. Therefore, it's not easy. One from a face value can say, so many suspects are outstanding, why can't they arrest? They've been identified. With the full capacity that we had, we were putting everything out in order to locate the suspect, but we will struggle. And this actually is a call to the community out there that let's have a working relation with the police so that we can assist each other in locating these perpetrators, because one of the days it will be me and you who have never been victims of the crime. The moment it strikes you, that's when you will realize the importance of working with the police. Therefore, it's not easy, commissioners. Others will locate them as far as Nelspruit, hiding, changing their names, and so forth. But then intelligence on the ground is key. Informers are being recruited. I see that some of the commands is to recruit informers. This is the first thing that we do. As the PKTT, pillar one, that consists of gathering of information. That intelligence gathering is the key, because those are the people that unlock our investigation. And when this information is brought to the analyst, they are able then to analyze statement by statement or any information that is coming, and able to feed the investigators to continue with the...
One of the identified shortcomings, and my question is really to try and understand how it works.
Yes,
one of the identified shortcomings is in respect of J50s, where there are J50s, is that you had dockets, or at least a docket where there were J50s, but in the docket there is no evidence of a trace and track. Instead, there is, I think, a note to circulate the profile, I think, and then on the system something was done, but there's no record of a track and trace. Would that kind of information, the efforts to track and trace, is it stuff that you would find recorded in the docket?
No, commissioners, because that is an intelligence information that you are receiving. Therefore, you go on that particular matter that the witness spoke about, on the Ndwedwe matter, whereby two suspects were identified and J50s were approved. We had numerous operations in locating the intelligence operation in locating these suspects, but neither of the two we could find them. And at a later stage, we then find out that the other suspect was shot and killed. One is still at large. Efforts are put in order to locate them.
And then something else, another shortcoming recorded is forensic ballistic reports outstanding for lengthy periods of time. Now, we've had a previous witness who has spoken about the challenges at forensics with resources, the problems with resources. But we've also had evidence about quick turnaround times for the PKTT.
Yes.
How do you reconcile that kind of an identified shortcoming, that ballistic reports outstanding for a very long time, and what we've had, that the PKTT, because of how you are organized, you are able to get quick turnaround times, including on ballistics?
If we are unable to locate the ballistic report, one, as I alluded with the 6 dockets of the traditional leaders, that means those ballistic reports haven't reached the lab. Therefore, ballistic members won't be able, because you need those exhibits to reach the lab. So they are sitting somewhere between the station and the lab. In areas like your northern KZN, KZN has only one ballistic offices that are based in Emazimtoti. If you are in, for instance, Babanango, usually the exhibit will be couriered to its destination. It's either if there is members that are driving from there, going to Durban, they will drive with those particular exhibits. But on a normal circumstances, they will be quarried. So quarrying those exhibits, anything can happen in between. It's therefore the duty of the LCRC within PKTT to locate those, of which this 6 is one of them. That's one. 2, I'm putting with this in with confidence that our in-house ballistic members were able to locate us ballistic reports. They will locate them, they will load them on the ICDMS system, they will make printouts, and they will call that, colleagues, the ballistic reports are available. You can come and collect them. If you feel like you are committed, you can go to the system and check them out. Thank you. Then on the one of, maybe I will quickly move commissioners to 23.8, the application for section 205. Usually what will happen in this instance as the IO, when you identify the number of a particular suspect, you will apply and take your application and be approved or authorized by the court. Thereafter, you go and submit it at the Communication Identification Management. This is the office of OCIM. This office is a liaison office between the stations and the network service providers. And for you to submit that, it doesn't mean that you will get it tomorrow. That will depend on one number of factors. If your application is from, let's say, 2019 to date, it's quite huge data that the network service provider needs to prepare. Therefore, it will take time. But if it's a short space of period, then it can within a week be returned. Therefore, this is not in control of the IO or PKTT because there's an external service provider that is involved into this. Then maybe if I can
Sorry, Colonel, just to clarify, so you're saying the applications had been made, but the results had not yet been collected?
Still outstanding, yes, commissioners. Then if I take and draw the commissioners to 23.5, request for video footage. Commissioners, this is one of the piece of evidence that plays a crucial role in our investigation because you find video footage that are clear, whereby a suspect, when he commits crime, he can't say, no, it's not me. But the challenges when it comes to video footage is the fact that they overwrite quickly. It depends with the owner when he installed the CCTV cameras. From his contract, he wants this to be live and that's it, there won't be recording. If there is recording, how long can the recording remain in the data? Therefore, because our cases, we receive them already been reported, the time we receive the docket after a month, most of these video footages, they remain 5 days, 7 days, a month. When you get there, the video footage is overwritten. Therefore, that is why we lose such. But I must say, video footage, they play a crucial, important role in our investigation.
And again, Colonel, so you're saying that in this example, in 23.15, did you check this particular instance that was being referred to by head office? And in this particular docket, you found that the video footage had been overwritten? This
we did, commissioners. We do have an expert within the PKTT that has the training and capabilities of downloading, because he goes there with his machines, he downloads, he sit down and analyze, and we look at the vehicles of interest and people of interest. Therefore, most of the time when he goes there, he finds that on this one particular, it was overwritten.
That's fine. I just wanted to check that you were not just giving a general answer to this, but that you specifically checked this docket and the comment on this docket.
And then the last one, the closed, one docket must be closed and undetected. Commissioners, I must emphasize that this is one of the approach that we discouraged to the team. Why we discouraged the team to close dockets as undetected or send them to NPA for null prosecute or inquest is because we believe in a strategy of saying, because we could see through our investigation that these dockets, somewhere, somehow, they link. Be it they link ballistically with fingerprints, because it's the same inkabis or hitmen that are being used. Be it that you can link through WhatsApp communication. So these three factors that I'm mentioning are the ones that gave us hope that instead of closing this docket, we forget about it. Let's take it, put it aside. I think General Khumalo spoke about the fridge. Put it there, and we will continue with another docket and investigate. If we pick up a certain signature that is similar to that particular docket, we draw that docket. And then we investigate it together with this. Somewhere they will be parallel, because we've got a ballistic report that is linking, for instance. We've got fingerprint, because that's where you catch these criminals. They go there with bare hands, and then we can be able to catch them.
Thank you. And the fridge doesn't become a deep freeze?
No. It doesn't, Commissioners.
So that's paragraph 23. Instead of going to paragraph 24, I'd like to finish this theme, because this interrupts a theme. Because as I see later in your statement, paragraph 27, you're still dealing with the issue of these comments and criticisms of the PKTT. So can I ask you, Colonel, to just bypass paragraphs 24 to 26 for now? We're going to return to them.
Okay, come on.
And go to paragraph 27.
Okay. I'm on paragraph 27, Commissioners.
So this is this is where you deal with the Sunday World article. And this is attached to your statement as NPK4. So maybe you want to just go to NPK4 and address this paragraph.
I've seen this article, Commissioners, and when the Provincial Commissioner KwaZulu-Natal, Lieutenant General Konazi, made the statement, he made that statement based on his assessment. And I think I don't have much to say based on what he assessed and his conclusion in what happened with the docket. But then from my own analysis and observation, I also went through the statement of a witness that was sitting here earlier on, and I could draw similarities from her statement and this article. And I then drew an inference that this is too accurate for it to be a coincidence. Could it be that the statement was leaked, or this report was leaked to media, and whoever that publicized it had whatever that he had?
Colonel, I'll just pause you there for a moment, because at page 62,
Yes.
Which is the second page of the article, 3 paragraphs from the bottom, the article reads, according to Motsepe's report that Sunday World has seen. So it would seem that this report is indeed based, so that's why it looks similar to you. It's actually based on Motsepe's report, it says so.
Yes, Commissioners, I see that, and for me, I will say The dockets in KZN were not covering dust because we were investigating these dockets from KZN. The fact that the SAP5, because I think this report was drawn from the inspection of the SAP5, we had our own methodology of having the tasking report, which the team of head office never had that preview to see them. Therefore, that is why they then drew this conclusion that the dockets actually in KZN were gathering dust. Dockets were not gathering dust. I will show that immediately after the docket were brought back to KZN, there were some movement in some of the docket, and I've highlighted later on my statement. Therefore, I dispute it.
So I think we should deal with the examples that you've chosen to draw to the attention of the commissioners in your taskings annexure. But before you do that, perhaps you can just wrap up paragraph 28, and then we can go to the annexure in BK 6.
Okay, on paragraph 28, commissioners, I must mention the fact that the fact of keeping the dockets in the fridge, I'll make examples. I will sum it up that it yielded good results, commissioners, in the sense that I've spoken about the linkages. I'll draw one case which happened in Umlazi, whereby a councillor was shot and killed. And on that particular matter, it was 2018 matter. It was one of the scenes that we attended immediately after happening because we were summoned. And then the case went on, and we were struggling to get all the evidence, and there was quite a lot of interference. That's where we saw the interference of the police. We saw interference of legal teams, but we stood because one of that police officer was then charged for defeating. And if my memory serves me vividly, well, he was found guilty 2 months back, the police officer that interfered on this. But to show the emphasis of taking the docket, put it on the fridge, and continue with an analysis, ballistic were able to link this particular docket with other 15 cases, whereby the suspect was using a pistol. It was a 9mm pistol. And in those, we had, on those 15 cases, it was 8 murders, 4 attempted murders, 1 robbery, and 1 possession of firearm. The possession was now this firearm found with him. And he was linked in all of those cases because even the identity parade was conducted, and the victims, some of the surviving victims, were able to point to that particular suspect. So this is one of the method and methodology that we show in that putting a docket aside, it doesn't mean that we forgot about it. We had our operational analysis, which we call them our information hub, that whenever something happens, let's remember we go and draw that particular docket. I will also make an example of a fresh scene where we had a matter in Newcastle. That matter, commissioners, was investigated, and within 7 days, whereby we were able to arrest the coordinator, the driver, the hitman, firearm, and a vehicle that was used in commission of crime within 7 days. And that matter at this stage, it's still at a trial stage. These are some of the examples that we are showing in terms of, do you say you put this aside? if a new case comes, do you say, no, I'm busy with this particular investigation, I can't focus on a new case? We say, let's focus on a new case because there's important evidence that can perish, that can be tampered with. Therefore, if the case is newly reported, we focus on it and we are able to get results. We had a case of Magudu where a EFF councillor was shot, burned inside his car. And when we look at it, there were a bit of political fighting within that ward. But instead, our motive proves us otherwise. We arrested the girlfriend of the victim and his accomplice. How did we get to the suspect? The suspect? Because the girlfriend was a person to go for us. And when we got his phone, and then we then pick up WhatsApp communication between her and the accomplice. And the accomplice provided him with a firearm. He shot, burned the boyfriend. That case was well investigated. The two suspects were convicted. The girlfriend is serving 2 life sentences, 5 years. And the other accomplice was then sentenced to 15 years. So these are some of the examples that we're showing that we are able to draw the matter from the fridge. We continue because it's linking. But when there's a fresh case that is reported, we also focus on it so that we avoid that the evidence can be tampered with, or we find video footage being overwritten and so forth.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
So I want to go now to NPK 6 because what I understand you to be doing here is to illustrate your taskings methodology, and you've pulled out some examples to explain why the dockets may appear that there hasn't been work done. But if you look at the taskings, it reflects the work that has actually been happening in these particular dockets. So that's at page 118 of the bundle. And you've named the cases and the CAS numbers, but I suggest you don't read out the number of the case. You can just refer to the area.
Yes.
As we go through it. But before we go through it, I'd like you to also explain these slides. There are, for example, in the first one, there's 2 pages. Where do they come from? Is it the full extent of the tasking? Just please explain to the Commission.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. One, maybe first on page 18, the case number there, it's a mistake. It's supposed to be 2016, not 2026. We're not yet at 2026. And then when we focus on page 19, we can see, as we mentioned...
It's page 119.
119, yes.
Yeah, not 19, 119.
119, sorry. Firstly, on the far left, we've got the reference, which is a case number, followed by the tasking. Earlier on, I spoke about past 24 hours and next 24 hours. Therefore, this then becomes a past, because if it's next, you won't have a feedback on the right-hand side. You will only have a task that as it's written, that members need to proceed somewhere and interview that particular person. And then the following day, you will get a feedback as it's highlighted or typed. But I want to then draw the attention of the commissioners on the top of that particular table, where it's the report, it's given the date, that this matter is 2016 matter, but then in 2024, 10/27, it was still receiving attention. And when you go to your SAP5, you won't find this. So that's the difference that I want to show the commissioner, that in other instances, the feedback won't be, or taskings and the SAP5 won't be updated, but on our daily report and weekly report, you will find these feedbacks. That if you go again, Commissioner, to page 120, you will see the same, of which when you look there, those members, the previous one, it was the detectives that were doing the work, and the following one is the detection, where they had to go and trace this particular person. So it shows you that all the disciplines were involved. There was a statement that this docket, and in one of the SAP5 written by head office, that we need to trace one suspect A and arrest him, or we must apply for the call data of suspect A. We must locate suspect B. Commissioners, as I said that earlier on, that maybe if we had sat with the investigating officer from head office and explained this, they would have understood. But then because it was a rush, both of those suspects, they are mentioned. And the call data of suspect A was applied. He had 2 numbers and was analyzed thoroughly. We couldn't place him at the crime scene, even though certain people are mentioning him. The second suspect that arrived at a particular house a day before the incident, and then on the incident, he walked wearing a certain clothing, of which one of the people that where he slept saw him with that clothing. He went to the crime scene. He found the victim the victim was a counselor, addressing the community. This is in the afternoon. As he walked, he pulled out the firearm, he shot and killed the victim. And he walked away. Not ran, walked away. All the people that were standing there, getting audience from the victim, none of them are able to say we can identify this party. It's only one person that followed the suspect. But when we obtained a statement, she said she can only give clothing description. We had numerous PGIs and interaction with NPA. They told us that we can't put this matter on the roll with such circumstantial evidence. If there was a description of a human, it was better. But clothing, anyone can go to the store and we can be 5 here wearing the same clothing. Therefore, it will be difficult to prove this. We don't have prospects of a successful prosecution in this matter. Therefore, the tasking and investigation on this matter was thorough, done, and exhausted. That's one example that I want to draw.
So the slides that you've pulled out, this is just for this particular day's tasking. You've pulled it out from a broader set related to this case.
Indeed, Commissioner.
Okay, so the second example is on page 121.
Thank you. It's 121, and we can see there that there was 5 attempted murders and 3 murders. Actually, it's supposed to be other way around. It's 5 murders and 3 attempted murders, Commissioners. This happened in one of the locations in KZN, and how did we draw this? This is a parallel of the case that is written with red on top. We were using color codes. For someone who doesn't sit with the PKTT won't understand when you get there. But then with these, Commissioners, if it's reference of 2 cases, or sometimes you find it's 5, we will ensure that the color of the tasking matches the color of the case, meaning this tasking is talking to this case. So in this instance, the feedback or the tasking there is talking to the color black of the case. How did we draw this particular case? It linked with ballistic to the main case. And this was a group of boys that was terrorizing people between these 2 areas in KwaZulu-Natal, as per the areas of the case numbers. And they were used as inkabis. Therefore, this was gang-related for drugs. The one in black, and then the one in red, it was a councillor that was shot and killed, and one of the firearms two firearms were used in this matter. But unfortunately, we couldn't link them 100%. It's a 2021 matter, commissioners. If you look at our last report, there is 2023-0807, meaning there was movement in this docket, there was attention given to this particular docket. So these were weekly report. This is where the tag jocks will be called, and we sit with Maj-Gen, where we will have a gathering, and we see, guys, there's no way that this particular case can defeat us. We need to work and solve it. So this is an example that this is not a day-to-day, but when we meet with the team and we populate as much as possible tasking in order to solve the case.
Thank you, Colonel. So that's page 122, but in the same case, if you turn to page 123, you see there's another meeting that took place of the team on the 21st of August 2023. And now on that left-hand column, you had the red case which you were trying to link. Now you have another case in red. So can you explain that?
Okay. Maybe if we can look first at the date, that there is a gap in between. As I said, this is weekly reports, it's not daily, so there will be difference. As we continue with investigation, and this won't appear on the SAP5, the ballistic expert, they were able to link another case whereby the firearm that was used on the first top case with the third one was used. Then the second one was also linked, that there is a firearm that was used to murder that particular victim on the second one. Therefore, this is some of the work that won't appear on the SAP5 because it is done by who? By a certain expert, which is ballistic.
Okay, so you use ballistic reports to link these cases together?
Together, indeed, Commissioner.
Okay, and the last tasking was 21 August 2023?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, and the third example then, which starts on 124?
This was also a parallel case, commissioners, of the main case, which is red. And if the commissioners can look at our reference there, we've got color red and blue. And on our tasking and feedback, both these particular cases received attention. And on this matter, there were suspects that were arrested. And this particular one with blue, there was a defeat in there from one of the suspects that was charged. And the matter then appeared in court, and as we look at the feedback on the 2019-07-26, and it was then remanded for formal bail. And in the next page, commissioners, if we can page, then we get the instruction that the advocate there, he will consider the ends of justice at a later stage. Therefore, it means then this docket won't, ultimately, charges were provincially withdrawn against one of the suspects because he said, hey, this is the advocate. Remember, we're working hand in hand with the advocates who have been advised. And then he said, can we put this person aside and then we focus on the matter first? Because this defeating hands of justice won't assist us much. And that was on July 2023 of 2019. But then the one we've read, investigation continued because that was the murder of an IFP councillor. But later then, the charges were also provincially withdrawn, and maybe also I must mention that during court proceedings when the charges were withdrawn, the defense then requested that that particular docket must be sealed off in front of the magistrate and everyone else, and it was done so. And to date, that particular docket, the one with ink rate, is still sealed off, and it was put in the LCRC forensic bag, and it's closed. Therefore, should there be any evidence that we are getting, we need to go back, talk to the prosecutor, who will then inform the defense, and that docket will, that means whatever that we obtain, it will be on the site. That docket will then be sealed off in a normal proceedings at court as well.
Do you recall why it was provisionally withdrawn?
Because the prosecutor felt that we don't have much of a prospect on this as well, because one of the witnesses, they recanted. That's one of the challenges that we always find from his original statement, and that was an eyewitness. Therefore, he saw that we won't have much of a prospect in this. Should I continue?
You can continue. I think there's one more or two more examples. The next
Yes,
example is 127.
Yes.
And the tasking is starts on 128.
128. Yes, we will focus on the one with red, commissioners. This tasking was executed in 2022-08-24. And this particular case, the main case there was the one with black, where an ANC councillor was shot and killed. And during our investigation, we then learned that the vehicle that was used in this commission of crime through the CCTV cameras was actually belonging to the brothers, which then led us to the particular address. When the team arrived there, they then linked these two brothers through the cartridges that were found at the crime scene and some of the cartridges that were found at the home state of the two brothers. But the elder brothers then was not around. It was only the younger brother who pointed the members with a firearm. No, sorry, he didn't point the members with a firearm. He had another case where he pointed someone with a firearm, and we felt like, let's draw that case, and then we will take the firearm for ballistic report and see if it can't link. And the only thing that we're linking there is cartridges, because when you fire a firearm, commissioners, what links the scenes is the unique markings that you get from the cartridge, because each and every firearm has its own unique markings, more especially on the barrel of the firearm, because it has grooves. But ballistic reports are expecting that, and they can be able to mention that. Even the hammer of firearms, they differ because they've got their own unique stems. So those cartridges linked. One of the evidence that we got at that home state, it was a number plate that was fixed in one of the kumbis. The same number plate is the one that was fixed in the vehicle that was used in commission of crime. But as I said, it goes back that the suspect is identified, why he's not been arrested. To date, commissioners, we got a go-ahead to arrest the brother of the suspect that was arrested with the case with red ink. But we couldn't locate him. Information is in Joburg. We have traveled Joburg numerous times. We can't locate him. Since 2022 to date, we haven't located that suspect. But investigation is going. Informers have been tasked to try and locate this particular suspect.
So, and the case you're talking about is the one of the pointing of a firearm?
pointing of firearm, but if we get the older brother of a suspect on pointing of firearm, we are going to enroll him on the main case because we've linked him positively so. But
Okay,
it's
so
still
this is a parallel case
It's
to
a-
the case that's in black ink.
Indeed.
That's the main case.
Indeed, Commissioners.
Okay. And then the final example is at page 130, 131.
Commerce want this case. It's when we look at our reference, is the second last case. It's in black, Commissioners. The first three.
Before you talk about it, I have a question on this because, you know, you've provided the dates of each of these taskings which show that there was work and investigation happening up until recently, but this date is 22 October 2020. So that was some time ago. Does that mean that there hasn't been work done on these,
Yes.
on this case?
Reason
Which is the
being,
Umkoma's case?
yes, reason being, this case of Mkomas, it was a parallel to the main case, which is the first one, 125. How did it become a parallel? After we identified the suspect, we conducted a intelligence-driven operation, and we arrested the suspect. And when we arrested the suspect, we found 2 firearms. We took those 2 firearms to ballistic, 1 firearm linked with the main case, which is 125. The other 1 firearm, which then became under that case with red, did not link. But because we found it in possession of a suspect, we needed to continue with it. Subsequent to that, the suspect on 125, the shooter on 125, main case where a civil engineer was, director of civil engineer was shot and killed, was also linked on 110. But why 2020, as the senior counsel has asked? When we took that matter to court, circumstantially, we got witnesses, but there was no eyewitness. That's one of the cases which the prosecutor said, because there's no eyewitness, we can't continue. That matter was provisionally withdrawn. But what is important in all this is the fact that we were able to deal with this suspect. As I'm talking to you, on the 125, there were 4 suspects. There was a hit orderer, there was coordinator, and 5 suspects. Hit orderer, coordinator, and 3 hitmen. But the other hitman was shot and killed before we arrested him. The 2 hitmen and these other 2, which is a hit orderer and a coordinator, were found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment each for the murder of that victim on 125. Therefore, in essence, one can say, yes, Umkomas, there was not enough to deal with him, but then the same firearm that he used on Umkomas, there it is, it's linking at 125, and he was then found guilty and sentenced to life
So
imprisonment.
it's the same suspect
It's
from
the
the
same
case
on
that
both cases.
where you didn't have enough evidence to go forward. You
Indeed.
were able to link him to another case, you were able to link them to another case.
Yes.
And they've since been convicted and sentenced.
With that. Maybe the other thing that I can mention, which I forgot to say, on the one where we were requested that we must apply for Section 205 and we must link, this is the Harding matter. Commissioners, I must say that one of the suspects that we were asked to apply for call data, we dealt with the suspect precisely so. He's a former police officer from Crime Intelligence. He was into taxi industry. he was moving to politics. Therefore, through his journey, he shot and killed one of his friends. And during that scene, that's where we then saw the other external factor, after the shooting, coming and picking up cartridges. So these are things that you want to avoid, and we could see that through the video footage. And on the other matter, he shot and killed one of the taxi association member. And that suspect, or accused, as we are talking, on those two cases, he got 2 life sentences and 40 years. He's behind bars. So those are some of things that we do. If we are failing this side, we've got something that we can neutralize the accused on. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, thank you, Colonel. So I think you've now comprehensively addressed the results of the inspection reports and tried to explain the work and examples of how some cases may look a certain way until you dig a little deeper into the work of the team. Can we then now go back to paragraph 24 that we overlooked in order to finish the theme that you were dealing with? In paragraph 24 is where you address the evidence that was given by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi before this commission when he mentioned that there were 5 cases in which there were warrants of arrest issued. And you wanted to explain that statement. So can you please do that with reference to paragraph 24?
Thank you, Commissioners. Indeed, General Mkhwanazi was not wrong when he gave those figures. When you look at paragraph 24, 24.1, I think I dealt with this matter where I mentioned that 2 suspects, J50s, were issued, and we had numerous intelligence operation in locating them, but then even to date, we haven't located them. And as we are gathered here today, one of them is normal, so there is still one outstanding. And then we, unfortunately, Commissioners, because we are not fully capacitated, we don't have the intelligence people that can go out there and try and locate them. It's the investigation and locating of such suspect is a little bit slow because the IOs, they remain most of the time at court for the matters that are on trial. And with the new investigation, because now the dockets are back and members are working. And then on 24.2, those 3 dockets are linking. The 3 of them, and when the team then briefed the prosecutors did give a verbal authority that the identified suspect can be arrested, and that is the same. As we are talking today, I had a chat with the team, I think last month, and they did tell me that they have submitted a application for J50 for authorization so that because they don't have the capacity of intelligence, if this suspect can be circulated and be assisted by the community, that will definitely assist them. Indeed, the verbal was given. And then to 24.3, that will make 4. And then the last one, as I put it, that is a more complex one, Commissioners. The main case there is that 184. On 184, 2 suspects were identified, being the shooter and a spotter. A J50 was then issued for the shooter because he was fully linked. And while the J50 was issued, while they were still on the run, they committed another attempted murder. If you page to page 13, Commissioners, you will see that case number 170. And on the same case, both suspects were involved again, a shooter and a spotter on 184. And luckily, the spotter was then arrested on this 170. Remember now, J50 is still there for the shooter on 184. And on 184, last year, December, we then got information that the shooter on 184 was shot and killed while still on the run. And the spotter on both cases, on 170, who was arrested and linked, he got bail this year, 2025, May. And the following day, after being given bail, he was shot and killed as well. So we couldn't bring him to the case of 184 because he's no more. Because as well, the dockets were here, nothing that we could do. Okay. Therefore, these 5, I'm saying this with confidence that indeed what General Mkhwanazi spoke about, it's true. Thank you, Commissioners.
So you're saying there were 5 cases in which there were either arrest warrants or prosecutor instructions to arrest?
Yes.
Okay. We can now, and then if we go forward, we've dealt with this already because it was your response to the report. So the next paragraph for you to deal with is paragraph 31. And this is under the heading work done by the team since the dockets were returned, the 121 dockets. So just to be clear, so you received the dockets at the end of August.
Yes, Commissioner.
And you're saying, look, the letter of disbandment was 31st December.
Yes, Commissioner.
And we know that you said that between then and the dockets being taken away, there wasn't much work that could be done by the PKTT.
Yes.
What was the complement of the PKTT before the disbandment, so in December 24?
The total capacity of having all the disciplines. I'm referring now to the operational analysts, our call data analysts in-house, our DFI. I've explained that DFI is digital forensic investigator, dealing with video footage, extracting of cell phones and so forth. Our DFO and ICC, which is we term ICC our intelligence gathering team. Without them, I must say that since then, because they had to be withdrawn as the team was scaled down. And
Colonel, let me take you one step at a time. The question is, how many members were there?
We had 98.
98 members in December 2024.
In December, yes.
And you're saying the composition
yes.
of that team included analysts, like the analysts you've just mentioned.
Mentioned, yes,
forensic, ballistics, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, Commissioner.
And by the time the dockets were returned at the end of August 2025, how many members were there in the PKTT?
56 members without operational analysts.
So from 98, you went to 56?
56.
Okay.
And then in those 56, we only having detection, combat members, one digital forensic investigator, and one call data. And from there, it's administrators, personnel. So other discipline experts are not there anymore.
So you've lost analysts.
Quite important pillars for our investigation and quick turnaround of investigation. We really lost. And this, when one look at the success of the PKTT compared to what we're currently having, it's going to have an effect, and it will be seen as if the PKTT is not working but because of we don't have full capacity. Beside the 121 dockets that were returned back, already the team has been given 6 new case dockets. There is 9 that were reported since December, but then they say they are currently having 6 that they are working on. But the work won't be, intense because they don't have the full capacity.
So the analysts, these include crime scene experts, right? Who you would say are integral to your investigation. Is this like Captain Wanda, for example? We've heard in the commission from Captain Wanda. Is Captain Wanda one of those experts?
Yes, we lost the likes of Captain Wanda, which was a crime scene investigator or examiner.
Oh, so Captain Wanda is no longer a member of the PKTT?
He's no longer. We had 5 in December. So after the letter and the team has been scaled down, we don't have any. Therefore, the processing of the crime scene, revisiting of the crime scene, and ensuring that we get the tracking of this exhibit is not going to be as quick as when we were capacitated. That includes the ballistic, because we had 3 December. Right now, we don't have any.
So the progress is not as quick as you would like it to be then?
Indeed, Commissioners.
But in paragraph 32, you give us examples and where progress has been made.
Yes, I should maybe read it on record with your permission, Commissioners. The following progress has been made since the dockets were then returned. And on this particular case, 3 accused individuals were charged on the 5th of September. This is after the dockets were returned. And since then, bail was denied and all of them are still in custody. This is one of the dockets that was in head office. And then
32.2.
that is the Ndwedwe case where we mentioned that there was a J50. The team is currently understaffed and are waiting for additional crime intelligence to assist with locating one outstanding suspect because the other one is deceased.
So this is not really an example of progress being made. This is just a report.
Just, yes. I think this also, it talks to why there's no quick turnaround in investigation, positive investigation.
32.3.
Then these are the 3 cases that we mentioned, and then on all 3, these were where the verbal approval was given that the J50, members can go and arrest, but then we have subsequently submitted a J50 for the approval, and upon receiving that, we will then follow the process of circulating this suspect. It's 4 suspects in total on the media, and hopefully the community at large will be able to assist in locating.
32.4.
This case, one suspect was identified and the docket was since submitted on the 17th of September to the prosecutor for their decision on giving us a go-ahead to go and apprehend the suspect.
Okay, it says for a decision on 17 September 2025. There's no further update that you have.
So far, no, I haven't received any further update.
And 32.5.
On this one, 2 suspects were positively identified and investigation is complete. Therefore, the docket also was submitted on the 5th of November 2025 to get further directive and a decision from the prosecutors.
Okay, thank you.
And you say this is over how many months?
This is since August. This is 3 months, if one can put it, or 4, yes.
So the progress you're telling us about is what, only 4 matters? I'm not stating this as criticism, but this is only 4 matters.
Yes, it's only 4 matters, Commissioners, and I should mention the fact that majority of the time the members remain in court. I don't know if the commissioners are following the news these days. There's been a lot of success in terms of conviction that have been circulated on the communication platforms for the PKTT. Therefore, courts, they consume a lot of the investigators' time, but then with also the new docket, as I said, that when a new docket is reported, the team focus on it in order to, persevere and secure the evidence that might be tempered or, as we said, the video footage that might overwrite and so forth.
But would you not also say that perhaps this is a function of the significant reduction of the PKTT resources?
It is. That is why on paragraph 33, Commissioner, I've mentioned that, due to the fact that if the team can be capacitated, the team will be full in its working swing, and there can be fast progress in terms of investigation and taking the matters back to court.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so the last chapter you deal with then is the effect of disbandment on the work of the PKTT. Now, some of this you've already spoken about. We've just had heard from you on what the impact has been on the team being scaled down, and the impact on, therefore, the progress of investigation of the dockets. So you don't need to repeat that evidence.
Yes.
But can you tell us about the other aspects of the effect of the disbandment with reference to paragraph 34?
The members were, commissioners, receiving a lot of this certification from the victims' families, from the victims that are involved in attempted murders and so forth because of this letter. And whenever the members receive such, they need to tell the TAC job commanders. And the TAC job commanders need to take it upon himself or herself to engage with the families, because that's one of our strong points of engaging all the time with and give progress to the family members. But I must put it on record that from the 121, not all of them have reached out on us. Even us, we've never reached out to all 121 family members. But then a few of those have, and the members of 34.1, the commander had to phone the victims' families there that are reassuring them that investigation will continue, be it that the team is no more there. Investigation will continue. If the team still remains and dockets are brought back by God's luck, then the team will continue where they left. And then if we page to page 18, on 34.2, that's one of the instances where one of the prosecutor was saying some remarks that the IO was not happy with. And the IO immediately then informed the commander, of whom the commander reached out on me that, hey, Colonel, we're having issues, because if now the prosecutor come and mention such things to the members, why members, what's happening, because the task team has been disbanded on the media. What must the members feel like and all that the PKTT members are not around, while the PKT member was there at court. So this had a serious impact, not only on the victims, but then, in a broader aspect. And that also includes the 34.3 and 34.4 commissioners. And I think on the 34.4, it's worse in a sense that it affected the member directly as well, whereby a J50 was executed, then the team had to go and charge the suspect. And whenever we do this, sometimes when we want to obviously charge the member or continue obtaining the warning statement and so forth. With warning statement, you interview the member. There's a document, SAP document that you complete and all that. But then when the team arrived at that particular station, as it's stated on sentence number 3 of paragraph 34.4, the branch commander, Lieutenant Colonel, informed the members that they are there unlawfully so because there is a letter that has been circulated that they are disbanded. You are in the middle of investigation, commissioners, and you receive this. The team didn't tell me immediately because I would have driven there and tell them that you stay here, you are police officers. These buildings, property, it belongs to government and you are employee of the government. You shouldn't leave. Or I would have phoned the station commanders. But the members, for peace sake, they left, they went to another police station. This had an interference and it's affecting the work of PKTT. Then the next one, maybe I will go to 34.6.
So 34.5 is another example of the confusion in the family and the concern that was expressed by family.
Indeed.
Okay. And there were attempts made to then allay their concerns.
Yes, Commissioner. And
Okay, so 34.6?
34.6, there was an article, let me see this one. There was an article that was circulated by one of the analysts, expert analysts, Mary Dihas, who then supported the motion of the residual of one of the prosecutors that dealt with this particular matter. And then the motion was then...
Sorry, Colonel, just to correct you, you referred to her as the expert analyst, but not for the PKTT.
No, not for...
Talking about an
he's not
independent
yes,
commentator, expert.
as per the comments and everything on social media and so forth. And yes, so she supported that motion and wrote things and all that the PKTT is disbanded and the team's not supposed to continue doing investigation. But now on this, he particularly pointed at the prosecutor that was dealing with this matter. And subsequently, an application was brought that the advocate must recuse himself. And in short, the judge on that particular matter delivered a judgment, and the application was heard and was dismissed, commissioners. And as we are talking, that matter is at court, and therefore the matter was resolved, and the trial is going to continue on the next court date. So this is the extent of the letter.
Sorry, Colonel. You say now it's resolved and the trial will continue, but you say that on 23 January 2025, that's when this application was brought by the defense for the recusal of the prosecutor and for and the arguments about the unit having been disbanded.
Yes, Commissioner.
So since 23 January 2025 and today, there's not been any further movement at court on this case. All that's happened is that the application has been...
I can't give the exact date when the application was turned down or dismissed, but I know for the fact that it was dismissed. It's that I don't have the date. Maybe it was my mistake for not getting all the facts on this particular dismissal of the application.
Okay, and it's...
So your understanding, Colonel, is that the judgment may well have been after 23 January 2025?
Yes, but later or mid-2025, advocate, because I think beginning of this month, I was somewhere in KZN, and that's when actually I was told that it was dismissed, but then I was not given the exact date when was it dismissed.
Unless I misheard again, you seem to mention the prosecutor only, but in your statement you referred to the removal of the investigator as well. Did the case involve that as well?
No, it was
Just the prosecutor.
prosecutor, but
Just the
then I take the prosecutor because it
Okay.
is collaboration between the PKTT as well as dedicated prosecutors. But it was the prosecutor particularly on this.
Let me just read. Advocate Matlamela for the accused noted that the task team was accused of misuse of power, arguing both the investigating officer and the prosecutor should be removed because the unit has been disbanded. Is that something else now outside of the case?
No. This might, it's, as I'm saying that I might have captured wrongly, but I will get the facts right. But I think from the media circulation, this is how it was written. But then if I can talk to the prosecutor or the IO and just to find out even the PKTT was involved or not, because I know that the same Mary Dihas lady was one of the people that was saying PKTT is abusing power, their powers and so forth and so forth. Yes, so it might be that they included PKTT IOs, investigating officer, but I will check with the team and revert to senior counsel about it.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you, Colonel. I think that brings us to the conclusion of your statement. Before you read paragraph 35 in conclusion, is there any other issues that you wished to place before the Commission?
Commissioners, maybe let me first state, as I've already mentioned, the impact of these letters to the members, the team particularly. I should mention this because I think it's important, because this shocked everyone. Sometime in 2021, we had to come and brief the National Steering Committee that was chaired by the former National Commissioner General Sithole at one of the venues here in Pretoria. And based on the report that we prepared and looking at the work that was put by the team, General Sithole uttered words that gave hope and trust that whatever that PKTT is doing, it's within the line of policing, and that they are doing a great job. He said PKTT is PKTT members are pioneers of modern policing, because he said whatever approach that they have brought has brought new dimension of investigation, because these are the cases that were given to previous task teams, they failed. And here they come with this approach of a 5-pillar, they are able to solve the cases. Further to that, there were numerous officers from head office that were deployed with the task team. Others, they came and attended some presentation. I will mention of Lieutenant General Sibia, who once attended a briefing session at Durban. And then subsequent to that, we drove to Nongoma, whereby the PKTT was investigating a murder of a certain NFP councillor who was shot and killed. But the motive then revealed that there was corruption whereby certain money of the municipality was used to fund some of the killings. And in that first appearance, that was in somewhere mid-2024, for fraud and corruption, there was accused, which is the MM of the municipality Nongoma. There was the CFO as well as the supply chain manager. General Sibia hailed the team for the excellent work. It was refreshing to hear that we are doing a great job, because I was driving General Sibia on that particular day. And the witness that was here earlier on, Major General Motsepe, once visited the team, and she stayed at Durban for a week, monitoring the team, attending our meetings and so forth. She was very pleased by the work that was put by the team and the standard of investigation. And she gave, the respect to General Khumalo. If I recall very well, I think General Khumalo was a brigadier of Major General by then. But then Major General Motsepe applauded the team for the great work that she witnessed. We at some point had Brigadier Mncwabe, who then came and was working closely with General Khumalo at Maj-Gen, who was actively involved with investigation, because on the sessions he will be there and advise. But out of all that, he mentioned, because I will now and then engage with the brigadier, also trying to suck information and be able to enhance my investigation forward. He was very thrilled.
Just so, Colonel, you don't move too far away from General Motsepe.
Yes, sir.
Would you be surprised to learn that in her testimony today, she said there's really nothing to write home about the operations of the PKTT? As I understood her, she was basically saying the PKTT is just like any other investigative section of the South African Police Service. There's nothing special about it. Would you be surprised to hear that? Based on what you say she actually said when she visited Durban for a week.
I'll be very surprised, Commissioners, considering what she said then and what she said today, because that will be contrary to what she said, or maybe it was just to please us then, I don't know. But it's surprising that she will utter such words. But from the onset, she was pleased and giving advices wherever she had to give advices. And we appreciated and respected that too.
Thank you, Colonel.
And then, and lastly, Commissioners, this particular approach was then rolled out to other provinces. We saw members coming to PKTT for the on-duty study, for the members to copy what the PKTT is doing, go back and imply to their respective units and provinces, because of the success that the team had. And all this, it's some of the, I won't say accolades, but appreciations that we were getting from people that were not working closely with us. Therefore, Commissioner, I saw it necessary for me to mention this. And lastly, in my conclusion, Commissioner, I would like to say thank you very much for this opportunity to come and share my experience and give the approach that was and the methodology used by the team. The team is still out, and I'm happy that the executive are still engaging and telling that the team must continue working. There's quite a lot of people that are dying, and others, when you sit, perhaps maybe if one day members of the commission can attend one of the crime scenes, and then you see how these people are brutally killed for nothing, greedy for money, greedy for tenders, and so forth. and obviously political tolerance that is among the political parties to parties, and so forth. Therefore, the team dedicated themselves and say, we will put our work in. And that letter, it torn them apart. It turned them apart. I'm not putting myself, because I needed to be there and protect them on the ground. And I knew that I do have my senior officers that will that are able to see and will engage all different structures in saying this is actually a suicidal decision that we have taken. And we are coming for the next year, the local government election, and that's where most of the killings are happening as per our analysis, but I won't dwell much into that. But then in short, I would like to say thank you very much, and I will also mention that the team is out working, and as I'm sitting here, I'm saying good luck to them. They must continue, they must ensure that they do their job diligently, and fear nothing, but only God. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Colonel. Do you wish to just read out paragraph 35 as your closing?
Maybe before that, let me just ask my question. Colonel, maybe to clear also this confusion, the PKTT continues to operate, as you've just said, and Major General Motsepe also expressed the view that cats should go back, the work should continue to be done by the PKTT because that team is still there. She said practically is still doing the work. But we also know from other evidence that your analysts and specialists have gone back to their stations, and yet you still keep the core team, the investigative team, or is it the investigative detective team? They're still there as PKTT. How did it come about that your analysts have now gone back to their stations? Was there an instruction, a specific instructions to them, and where did it come from? So was there an instruction? Where did it come from? And did that instruction, though, recognize that the PKTT continues to function?
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. I had a luxury of seeing the information note that was prepared for the current team of 56 members to remain. And in that information note, it was then written that agreement was then reached that the team must be scaled down, or instruction given that the team must be scaled down. Please, I must not be misquoted in that. Those that will remain, it will be mostly the detective in order for them to oversee the matters that are court going. And the under investigation dockets are being withdrawn from PKTT. Therefore, in that instance, there was no need for these other disciplines. That is why your ballistic, your LCRC, your call data analyst, operational analyst, DFOs, intelligence gathering capacity, they had to go back to their origin of units or stations. That's how the decision came about, and that is why the team is left with only 56 members.
Did I then mishear you to report that the team has now, since the beginning of the year or something, gotten another six dockets? Did I hear you correctly?
There is, I said there is 9 dockets that were reported since 2024 December.
Okay.
And then at this stage, I did explain how the dockets end up with the PKTT. It's reported at the station, moved to district, the province, then end up with the PKTT. From the 9 dockets, the PKTT is in possession of 6 of those dockets that are under investigation. They are working with those dockets without these other aspects, which then obviously the turnaround of successful prosecution will be will be slower, because these aspects are not there anymore.
All right, thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Colonel, based on what you say you saw in the document that you say you had the luxury of seeing,
Yes, Commissioner.
and what that document said, it seems to me then that Minister Mchunu actually achieved what he wanted, which is effectively the disbandment of the PKTT. Would you agree with that observation? If you say all that the PKTT is remaining for is to see to their finality the court-going matters. So effectively, Minister Mchunu has achieved what he wanted, or not?
I will say partially, Commissioners. Why I'm saying that, the immediate disbandment, which did not had that impact, dockets were removed under investigation and came to Pretoria while the team is still operating, but it was scaled down. That's an achievement he has achieved. But subsequent to that, the National Commissioner continued to sign what we call call-up instruction that moves you from your origin place of work to wherever you're supposed to go and execute your taskings. National Commissioner has successfully done that because even after that letter, the team remained at KwaZulu-Natal, but they were not in full capacity. At this stage, as we are talking, the team is not in full capacity, but they are overseeing under investigation and court going, which then one says it's a 50-50 in my short understanding. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Colonel.
Can I just also clarify based on the question raised by the commissioners? It's not, because now I became a bit confused. It's not just the new matters that were forwarded to the PKTT that were requiring investigation, because after August, the under investigation cases were sent back to you. So those also still require investigation by the PKTT.
That is true, Commissioners. The 18, because the 3 matters of Eastern Cape were sent to Eastern Cape. The 118 is still under the PKTT. When they left Pretoria, they went straight to PKTT commander and the lieutenant colonel that took over from me. And they continued with investigation. Hence, other dockets were submitted for decision on arresting submitted to NPA. And J50s applied and submitted for authorization and other investigation that is happening. Then subsequent to that, they got this new docket that were not yet allocated to them. And maybe one should also quote that yesterday I saw Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi addressing on Sunday, addressing some group of traditional leaders and community of Duba. And he made mention of a case that will, traditional leaders, because among those 118 is the 45 cases of traditional leaders, that the case that has been reported recently will also be overseen and investigated by the PKTT. Therefore, they are in full swing, but on a scaled down capacity.
So to just close this off, I mean, you still have the same number of dockets. There are a few more that have been added to the load, but with a significantly reduced team. And unless I'm wrong, what for me is important about the reduction is that it defeats the methodology of the PKTT. Because what I have been understanding to be the success of the model of the PKTT is that there are these multiple disciplines and this teamwork. So there are people with different expertise examining a docket and discussing it with each other. You've lost that because those experts and analysts have been taken away. So actually, the team has been defeated, right?
That's true, commissioners. As I said, that with these experts being withdrawn, the turnaround investigation of this docket is going to be longer than previously when we were fully capacitated. And there's additional work with this new docket now brought to the team. So it's a negative impact, actually.
Okay, thank you. All right. You can close finally with your paragraph 35.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. In this paragraph, I highlight these instances to demonstrate the effect of the disbandment letter and the abrupt removal of the dockets from the PKTT. The real victims of these events were the investigations, ongoing criminal trials, and the family victims. That is why we received quite numerous calls and the certification from the victims' families and so forth. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Chair, just before we release the witness, actually, I need to inform the commissioners that General Motsepe, before she left the venue, clarified something and requested that we put this clarification to the commissioners, and I don't know if the witness may confirm or not, that where she had said that in the Eastern Cape case, the one that's now with different investigators, it's been returned to Eastern Cape investigators. She said that there were 3 investigating officers who had been killed. She corrected that. They weren't investigating officers. There were 3 suspects, in fact, who had been killed in that matter.
It sounds like the colonel is aware of
You're
what
aware
happened.
of this, Colonel?
Do you want to? Yes.
Do you wish to comment on that? So General Motsepe had said that 3 investigating officers in that case had been killed, and that, in fact, she got that wrong.
Yes, indeed, commissioners, the general got that wrong. If you look at the SAP 5, the 3 investigating officers she's referring to, the members of head office that were allocated that docket after being brought to head office, they did meet these particular investigators. Therefore, people that were assassinated is people of interest or / suspect that were being used by the hit orderer. And then I guess it's a way of trying and taking out evidence. Maybe knows that one of those shooters will have came and then confessed and so forth. So it's not investigators, but suspects that were assassinated. It's 3 of them. I'm aware of such. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Colonel. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Colonel.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
We adjourn until 9:30 tomorrow.
Until 9:30 tomorrow.
Let us adjourn until
Thank you, Chair.
9:30 tomorrow.